I, 32F, am the elder daughter in our family. My childhood was happy until my biological father passed away when I was 10 due to pancreatic cancer. Dad was my hero. He taught me to read, helped with homework, and always made time for me despite his busy job as an engineer. His death devastated our family. Mom fell into depression and struggled to cope with raising 2 young daughters alone. 4 years later, Mom met John at a grief support group. He was divorced and worked as a high school teacher. They dated for 6 months before getting married. My sister Sarah was 7 when Mom remarried and quickly bonded with John. She started calling him Dad within months while I couldn't bring myself to do it. I was 14 and still grieving my father. John tried to connect with me initially. He offered to help with my science projects because that was what Dad and I used to do together. I politely declined it every time. Eventually, he stopped trying and focused more on Sarah, who eagerly accepted his attention. I didn't mind because I wanted to preserve my memories with Dad. Growing up, our house divided into 2 groups. Mom, John, and Sarah spent time together while I stayed in my room studying or reading Dad's old books. Mom often complained that I was too reserved and should try to be more like Sarah, who was outgoing and social like her. When I got good grades, Mom would say, "That's great, honey, but you should join some clubs like Sarah." Everything became a comparison. The distance grew as years passed. I focused on academics because Dad always stressed its importance. Sarah was average in studies but excelled in sports and social activities. John attended all her games and competitions. He tried coming to my debate competitions too, but I asked him not to. It felt wrong having him cheer for me when Dad couldn't. I moved out at 18 for college in another state. The distance helped me build my own identity away from constant comparisons. I visited only during holidays while Sarah chose a local college and stayed home. During these visits, I noticed how close she and John had become. She consulted him for every decision: college major, internships, even dating advice. I made my choices independently, sometimes not even telling my family until after. Mom didn't like my independence. She said I was pushing them away and breaking up the family. But I was just living my life differently. After graduating, I got a job as a software developer in another state. Built my own friend circle, dated occasionally, and created a peaceful life. I visited home 2 to 3 times yearly, maintaining polite but distant relationships. Last month, Mom called crying. John had been diagnosed with kidney failure due to uncontrolled diabetes and high blood pressure. He needed a transplant urgently as dialysis wasn't working well. Mom and Sarah got tested but weren't matches. They wanted me to get tested too. I agreed to the test because refusing would make me look bad. But I told them clearly that I needed time to think even if I matched. They seemed confident I would donate if matched. The results came after a week. I was a compatible donor. Mom and Sarah were overjoyed. Without consulting me, they started planning surgery dates, discussing my leave from work, and arranging for my post-surgery care. When I reminded them that I hadn't agreed to donate yet, they were shocked. Mom said I owed it to John for raising me. Sarah called me selfish and ungrateful. I tried explaining my concerns. I have a demanding job managing multiple projects. I live alone in a different state. The recovery would take 2 to 3 months minimum. I need someone to care for me, but my family lives far away. My close friends work full-time and can't take extended leave to help. Financially, it would be tough too. I'd have to take unpaid leave as I've used my paid leave visiting them when John first got sick. My savings would take a hit. Most importantly, I wasn't emotionally ready to make such a huge sacrifice for someone I maintained minimal contact with. Mom dismissed all my concerns. She said I was overthinking things and making excuses. Sarah offered to take leave to care for me, but I knew she couldn't afford it. She's a teacher like John and barely manages her bills. Mom can't leave John alone to help me recover. They started guilt-tripping me, saying John was an amazing stepfather who never differentiated between his own daughter and stepdaughters. Mom brought up how he attended my graduation despite me keeping him at arm's length. Sarah cried about losing her beloved father. John stayed quiet during these discussions. He just looked disappointed, which made me feel worse. But I couldn't ignore my instincts screaming that this wasn't right. Mom finally gave me an ultimatum: either donate the kidney or forget I have a family. I refused to be emotionally blackmailed and left. Since then, Mom and Sarah have blocked me everywhere. My extended family is divided. Some understand my position while others think I'm being cruel. My aunt told me Mom and Sarah are telling everyone I abandoned the family in their time of need. According to them, I'm choosing my comfortable life over saving my stepfather. John's condition is getting worse. Sarah posts daily Facebook updates about his deteriorating health, subtly blaming me. Yesterday she explicitly called me a murderer for refusing to save her father's life. Some of her friends have sent me hateful messages calling me heartless. I feel hurt by their reaction but stand by my decision. Organ donation is a personal choice that requires careful consideration. No one should be forced or guilted into it. I offered to help find other donors through social media and kidney donor groups. I even offered to contribute financially for John's treatment. They refused everything, saying they want nothing from me except my kidney. The guilt comes in waves, especially at night. But I know I made the right choice for myself. Dad always taught me to trust my instincts and stand up for myself, even if it meant standing alone. I'm honoring his teachings by choosing my health and well-being over others' demands. I need perspective. Am I wrong for refusing to donate? Should family obligation override personal choice in matters like these? Update 1: Things took an unexpected turn that changed everything. My aunt, Mom's sister, called yesterday with information that left me questioning everything I thought I knew about my family, especially John. It started when my aunt saw Sarah's latest Facebook rant about me. She felt something wasn't right about the whole situation and decided to dig deeper. That's when she received an unexpected message from Katie, 31F, who introduced herself as John's daughter from his previous marriage. Yes, you read that right, John had another daughter he never told us about. According to my aunt, Katie reached out after seeing Sarah's posts about John needing a kidney. She wanted to verify if the posts were true because she hadn't heard anything from John directly. When my aunt confirmed everything, Katie shared her story, and it was heartbreaking. John abandoned Katie and her mother when Katie was just 5 years old. He left them without warning, changed his phone number, and moved to another city. Katie's mother struggled alone to raise her, working 2 jobs to make ends meet. Despite court orders, John never paid a penny in child support. He completely erased them from his life. The worst part? Mom knew about Katie all along. She knew John had abandoned his biological daughter when she married him. She helped him hide the secret from everyone, including Sarah and me. All those years of calling me distant and cold for not embracing John as my father, while knowing he had abandoned his own child, the hypocrisy is staggering. After learning this, I reached out to Katie through Facebook. We talked for hours on the phone. She shared how John's abandonment affected her entire life. She grew up wondering what she did wrong for her father to leave. Her mother never remarried because Katie's existence scared potential partners away. They survived on food stamps while John built a new family with us. Katie tried reaching out to John multiple times over the years. When she was 15, she found his address and wrote him letters. They all came back unopened. On her 21st birthday, she tried visiting him at his school, but he refused to see her and threatened to call security. She even reached out when she graduated college. John blocked her number. What breaks my heart is that during all these years, John was playing the role of perfect father to Sarah. He was attending her games, helping with homework, and walking her down the aisle at her wedding. All while his biological daughter yearned for just one phone call, one acknowledgement of her existence. Katie got tested for kidney donation too. Turns out she's also a match. But like me, she has no intention of donating. She's angry, hurt, and disgusted by John's actions. She's even more furious at my mother for enabling his behavior and then having the audacity to demand my kidney while keeping the secret. Mom and Sarah still don't know that I've discovered their secret. They continue their smear campaign against me. Sarah's latest Facebook post really crossed a line. She wrote that John was more of a father to me than my biological dad ever was, that he stepped up to raise another man's daughters when he didn't have to. Reading those words, knowing what I know now, made me physically sick. My real father may have died young, but he loved me completely in those 10 years. He never abandoned me by choice. I'm struggling with whether to expose their lies publicly. Katie wants to handle it herself. She plans to confront John face-to-face at the hospital. She wants me there for support, and I agree because I need answers too. How could Mom judge me so harshly while hiding the secret? How could she watch John reject Katie's attempts to connect while demanding I donate my kidney to him? The transplant surgery is scheduled for next month. They're still hoping I'll change my mind. Mom's friend called yesterday saying I should forgive and forget for the sake of family unity. She suggested I'm being stubborn and that donating my kidney could heal all the family rifts. But learning about Katie changed everything. I can't see John the same way anymore. His image as the devoted family man who married a widow and raised her daughters is shattered. He's a man who abandoned his 5-year-old daughter, rejected her attempts to reconnect, and then expected his stepdaughter to sacrifice her health to save him. Katie and I have been supporting each other through this mess. We're united in our decision not to donate. She's helping me deal with the guilt trips and manipulation. Having someone who truly understands the situation has been invaluable. I'm still processing all these revelations. Part of me wants to blast their hypocrisy all over Facebook like they did with me. But Katie deserves to confront them on her own terms. We're meeting them at the hospital next week. I don't expect the conversation to go well, but the truth needs to come out. To those who supported my decision not to donate, thank you. You helped me stand firm when I doubted myself. Now, knowing what I know, I'm more certain than ever that I made the right choice. I'll update again after the hospital confrontation. Right now, I'm focused on supporting Katie and preparing for the fallout when everything comes to light. Update 2: yesterday was intense. Katie and I met John at the hospital as planned. Mom and Sarah were there too for his dialysis appointment. We waited until he was done to avoid causing him any physical stress, though what followed was emotionally draining for everyone. Their reaction to seeing Katie was exactly what we expected. John turned pale like he'd seen a ghost. Mom started stammering and grabbed Sarah's arm for support. Sarah looked confused, glancing between Katie and John, trying to understand what was happening. The silence in that hospital corridor was deafening. Mom tried speaking first, making weak excuses about how complicated the past was. Katie didn't let her finish. She pulled out a folder containing court documents, letters and photos, evidence she'd collected over the years. She passed copies to Sarah, who started reading with shaking hands. The documents told the whole story. John left when Katie's mother was struggling financially. The court ordered him to pay $800 monthly in child support, but he never paid a single installment. Katie had letters she wrote him every birthday and Christmas for 3 years, all returned unopened. There were school photos she'd sent, hoping he'd want to see how she was growing up. When confronted with this evidence, John's excuses were pathetic. He claimed Katie's mother turned her against him. Katie pulled out more documents, text messages where he threatened to call the police if Katie tried contacting him again, emails where he told her to stop ruining his new family's happiness. The truth hit like a tsunami. John left because Katie's mother refused to get an abortion. He wasn't ready for fatherhood then and saw it as the easy way out. Years later, when he met Mom at the grief support group, he wanted a fresh start. Mom admitted she helped him hide his past because she was afraid of losing him. She thought she was protecting her daughters from complications. Sarah's reaction surprised me. She broke down completely. All those Facebook posts about John being the perfect father suddenly came back to haunt her. Her entire image of her beloved dad crumbled. She begged Katie to forgive him, saying people can change and that the John she knew would never abandon his child. Katie's response was powerful. She told Sarah that the John she knew was built on lies and the suffering of a 5-year-old girl. While Sarah got father-daughter dances and graduation celebrations, Katie spent her birthdays hoping this would be the year her father remembered she existed. The hospital staff noticed the commotion and suggested family counseling. We declined. There's too much betrayal, too many years of lies. Mom finally admitted she was wrong to pressure me about the kidney donation, but in the same breath suggested I should still do it because John did raise me after Dad died. I reminded her that raising your stepchild while actively rejecting your biological child isn't something to be proud of. John's health is getting worse. His doctor says he might not last long without a transplant. He's on the waiting list, but his chances aren't good given his age and condition. Sarah switches between fury at us and desperate pleas for help. She even offered Katie money if she'd donate, which just made everything worse. Mom keeps trying to justify their actions, saying they were different people back then. She claims hiding Katie's existence protected Sarah and me from getting hurt. When I pointed out that she had no problem hurting Katie, she had no response. Katie and I left them at the hospital. We're done with their manipulation. Katie revealed she's considering legal action to recover the unpaid child support with interest. It's been over 20 years, and with penalties, the amount is substantial. I'm supporting her decision completely. The extended family is still divided, but more are taking our side after learning the truth. Sarah has stopped posting on Facebook. I guess it's harder to play the victim when people know the whole story. Mom's been calling our relatives trying to do damage control, but the documents Katie shared speak for themselves. Right now, I feel more confident than ever in my decision not to donate. John and Mom's true characters have been exposed. They're not the victims they pretended to be. I just regret not knowing about Katie sooner. We lost years of being sisters because of their lies. Katie and I are planning to meet next week to discuss her legal options. Whatever she decides, I'll stand by her. Sometimes family isn't about blood or legal ties, it's about who stands with you when the truth comes out. I'll update again when there are significant developments. Right now, we're all processing these revelations in our own ways. Update 3. This is my final update. John passed away last week due to complications from kidney failure. The hospital called Katie and me since we were still listed as potential donors in his medical records. We thanked them for informing us but declined to attend the funeral. Sarah turned the funeral into a theatrical production about daughters who let their father die. According to my cousin who attended, she gave a tearful speech about forgiveness and how Katie and I chose revenge over saving a life. Mom sat in the front row nodding along, playing the grieving widow perfectly. Katie and I sent a modest flower arrangement but stayed away to avoid drama. We knew our presence would only lead to accusations and emotional manipulation. Mom's relatives are now firmly divided into two camps. Some understand our position and have cut contact with Mom and Sarah. Others think we're heartless monsters who killed an innocent man out of spite. Sarah's back to posting daily on social media. She writes long tributes about losing her precious father, sharing childhood photos and memories. Yesterday she posted about karma coming for daughters who betray their parents. Many comments sympathize with her loss while criticizing us, not knowing the full story. The legal case Katie filed concluded last month. The court ordered John's estate to pay the back child support with interest, almost $300,000. This affects Mom's inheritance significantly as most of their assets were jointly owned. She called me furious, saying I betrayed her by helping Katie steal what rightfully belonged to our family. I reminded her that Katie was family too, the one they abandoned and denied. Mom hung up and blocked my number. Sarah sent a text saying I destroyed their lives twice, first by refusing to donate and then by supporting Katie's money grab. I blocked her number too. I've moved across the country for a senior developer position at a major tech company. The distance helps. Katie lives just an hour away from my new place. We meet regularly for dinner and are building a real sister relationship. She understands my complicated feelings about Dad's death because she never had a father figure herself. Sometimes late at night, I wonder if I should have donated my kidney. Maybe John would still be alive. But then I remember how they treated Katie, how they lied for decades, how they tried manipulating me through guilt and shame. It confirms I made the right choice. Their true colors showed when their secrets came out. The guilt trips haven't stopped. Mom's friends still message me saying I could have prevented this tragedy. They don't understand that this was never just about a kidney, it was about decades of lies, manipulation, and cruelty towards an innocent child. I'm at peace with my decision and happy with my new life with Katie. She's the silver lining in this whole mess. We're planning a trip together next month to visit Dad's hometown. I want to show her the places he loved, help her understand the kind of father she deserved to have. To everyone who supported me through this journey, thank you. Your messages helped me stay strong when doubts crept in. To those who judged without knowing the full story, I hope you never face such a choice. I'm closing this chapter of my life and focusing on building new, honest relationships. Katie and I are proof that sometimes the family you choose is better than the one you're born into or the one that claims to choose you.